On today's show, we meet Nate, the fishing great,
Got him?
Yep.
an inspiring high school angler who certainly earned the nickname. We tour the ultimate outdoor man cave indoors
My wife would say that's a problem too.
Pull.
and get started shooting sporting clays. Today, we show you how.
Like that.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Bill and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
You know, it sure seems like high school fishing teams are popping up all over the place.
Lots of young anglers, each with a story to tell.
Exactly why Ron Schara jumped in the boat with Nate, the fishing great.
Nice little boat you got here.
Yeah, it's perfect for me and my friends.
Perfect indeed for Nate Ice. On the water, in his fishing boat, yeah, life is good when you're a 15-year-old sophomore at Wayzata High School.
Well, ever since I was a kid, my grandpa has always taken me out fishing. I kind of got hooked on it after that. We're gonna be fishing like a 22-foot weed line that leads to deeper water with drop shots, bigger worms. Some are sitting in the weeds and some are out on the weed edge, hopefully.
If you've never been humbled, you've never been fishing.
Nope.
I've been humbled a lot.
Yeah.
What's more, Nate, for his age, has lots of fish stories to tell. Most good, but some, well, not so good. Let's hear the good ones first.
And I've caught a couple fish off here, so we're just gonna go to that.
So you're using worms that size for your drop shot once in a while, huh?
Yeah.
Big bait, big bass, right?
Yep.
You believe that?
Sometimes. Yeah, you're always on the hunt for finding something new, finding something better, finding that big fish.
Got him?
Yep. Oh, it's a pike, that's why.
Oh, well, that happens.
At least it's something.
What are you thinking?
Where the fish are.
Yeah.
Trying to think of an idea.
A fishing idea? Well, Nate has lots of them, it seems. One idea, his school needed a Wayzata fishing team. So guess who started it?
Well, we've heard about other fishing teams on the news, and I was already interested in starting one, but I had no clue really how they worked or what they did on them. So my mom saw another fishing team on the news, so she got in contact with them and they helped us start ours. We started with about 5 people and it grew to about 10, and then we kind of cut it off for the year because we didn't want to grow too fast. But now we're up to 24 kids.
Nate is very focused on fishing in every way. He wakes up early, like most teenagers wouldn't, to fish. He'll do it all day and all night if you let him. And for him, it's given him something that just completely occupies his mind and time and gives him something to look forward to being out on the water.
Yeah, I think it's given him the confidence. I've seen him become a leader with his friends, and that's what's most exciting for me.
Despite Nate's angling passion, his pursuit of fish hasn't all been smooth sailing. First, the deer tick saga.
I was fishing at a pond with one of my friends, and I started to feel sick over the next week, and it developed and it developed, and they found out I had Lyme's disease.
Nate was cured of Lyme's, but the worst fishing experience was yet to come. A damaged eye and blurred vision.
Yeah, I was fishing in a tournament, and I got hit by the lead weight of a hair jig to an open eye.
So did Nate think about quitting the casting game? Nah.
How many days a week do you think you fish?
6 or 7.
There's only 7 in a week.
I know. It's a decent fish, actually. At times it can be chaotic, but at times it can also be beautiful and calm, humbling.
For Nate, that's the sport of angling, with the bad luck best forgotten.
Coming up next, a menagerie of mammoth proportions. We go inside the ultimate outdoor man cave.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota Select GMC dealers, Alumacraft, Chase on the Lake, and by Connecticut.
Everyone needs some sort of retreat. You know, that place to just kind of get away and relax. Rod Taylor decided to skip a lake place and headed right to his own basement. That's where Ron Schara met up with him.
If you're wondering where men go when the hunting and fishing seasons end, when the NFL occupies the tube on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday nights, well, Rod Taylor will take you there.
After 38 years of marriage, my wife has learned to humor me.
To his Twin Cities man cave. Man cave? Definition: a man's retreat. Also called the last bastion of masculinity, filled with not her stuff, but his stuff. A log cabin motif. A fireplace built with smooth stones from a stream.
Brought a number of these stones back from Canada. They were uniquely rounded. To me, this space represents total relaxation. I know it sounds odd that I can just sit here and look at things and be totally relaxed, but you know, that's the reality.
Ah, yes, a man cave doesn't need interior designers with their accent pieces and stuff like that. In Rod's world, the whole cave is an accent piece on one man's whim.
I buy things because I really appreciate them, and I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to worry about, gee, I need to sell something before I can buy something. This really is a memory cave as much of a man cave as it is, because every single piece tells a story.
Stories galore. Let's begin with the canoe.
Around the turn of the 19th century into the 20th century, Old Town Canoe Company used to offer a 4-foot canoe to every dealer that would buy a rail car of canoes. Now, those canoes now sell for $18,000. This is a pretty good reproduction, but it's not $18,000. This is an Elto Pal. It's about a 3 horsepower, and it's from around 1947. It used to be you caught a fish, you ate a fish, and then somebody got the bright idea of sketching the fish out on brown paper, and then somebody else got the idea of, well, let's sketch out the fish on a plank of wood, and we can cut it out and nail it to the wall. And that evolved into what you see here, which is a carved wooden fish effigy. These started at about the turn of the 19th century in Scotland and in England.
Clearly, a man's cave is never full. As you might expect, Rod shares his man cave with other men.
You know, the man cave is fantastic, and the ambiance, kind of that North Woods feeling you have sitting here is just incredible, relaxing. You know, it's just really, it's fantastic.
So, ladies, now you know where men go. Their memories go too. To a place where the decor might be awful, the color scheme outdated, but hey, who cares? It's a cave, right, men?
Let's load up.
Coming up, we take aim at a growing Minnesota sport. Get started shooting sporting clays next.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Minnesota Rebab.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to get started in sporting clay shooting? You know, I get asked this question a lot, specifically from a lot of women who want to learn how to shoot. Well, today I brought in two of the experts, two of the top trick shooters in the country, the Gould brothers, who are here to help me get started in sporting clay shooting. How are you guys?
We're good. We're ready to have some fun.
Me too. Well, so how do we get started?
Follow us.
All right.
All right, Laura, like all the shooting sports, we gotta start with safety. We gotta keep those eyes protected. We got some shooting glasses here, very important. There's some different options that people can look at. Clear is for sunny days. Otherwise, if it's a little bit cloudy, overcast, yellows are great, green backdrops, ambers are great. And one other important thing I look for is a ballistic glass. Ballistic glass holds up even when shot by a shotgun, as you can see in these glasses, from 10 meters. You know they're gonna protect your eyes when they need to.
Goodness, look at that. So we have our eyes covered. What's next?
Well, our ears. We want to protect all the senses, so our ears are next. Starting off, you can just go with something very cheap like a foam earplug. They're cheap, they're reasonable, and they fit well and protect our ears. As you move along in the sport, you're probably going to want to go to a custom molded plug, something like these. They're actually molded to the shape of your individual ear. These are actually electronic, so it allows you to hear normal conversation as well as cutting off the loud sound once it gets above unsafe hearing levels.
Now we're getting to the good stuff.
Oh yeah, gotta have the shotgun. Of course, pretty essential part to shooting sporting clays. There's some considerations we need to look at when shooting sporting clays, especially if you're new, maybe haven't shot shotguns much. Well, some people are scared, and that's totally understandable. They hear shotguns kicked, maybe they've shot one before and are scared of it. So we wanna start with a gun that fits them well and maybe has some lighter recoil. We suggest a 20 gauge. For smaller framed individual, whether that's a woman or a child or even a man.
As you progress in the sport, you might want to look at switching to a 12 gauge shotgun. The reason it's nice to go to a 12 gauge shotgun is the shells have more BBs in them, allowing you more pellets downrange to hit the target you're shooting at. And also a lot of people that shoot competitively will go to an over and under shotgun, like this one here. One of the advantages of having an over and under shotgun is that you can put two different types of choke tubes in.
All right, I got some 20 gauge target loads. Let's hit the course.
Okay, I'm gonna gear up.
So with sporting clays, you have a course, and on that course we have several stations. It's sort of like the golf of shotguns.
So how many stations are there in sporting clays?
Well, that can vary. A lot of times it's 10 stations, 5 birds a station, so you see 50 birds on the course.
That's a lot of shooting.
It is, but it's fun.
All right, so I hope this is an easy one to get started.
Let's load up.
All right.
We got some 20 gauge target loads for you.
They're nice and light, right?
Yes. A lot of people are concerned about recoil when shooting, but if with the proper technique, that's something that can be very manageable.
So you have any pointers for me before I take my first shot here?
Well, one of the things that a lot of new beginners do is they don't put their face down on the stock. They don't have that good cheek weld. So what you want to do is you want to bring the gun up to your face and then back into your shoulder.
Very important too that the cheek stays there throughout the shot. A lot of new shooters, as the bird comes out, they'll have that tendency to raise their head and look at it. Where is it?
You know what we call that? Prairie dogging.
Prairie dogging.
Prairie dogging.
I call it missing.
Oh, that's true. Now I have a question for you. Sometimes you see shooters shooting with one eye closed and sometimes with both eyes open. What do you suggest?
You're shooting a moving target, and when you close one eye, that depth perception gets off. It gets harder to tell the direction, speed of the target. Absolutely, both eyes open. Are you ready, Laura? We're gonna look at our first bird. Let's take a look. Pull. There it is. So we see where the bird's going?
Yep.
Now all we wanna do is set up for the easiest place to break that bird.
Which means my body should be positioned a little bit more this way?
Exactly.
Okay. Pull. Whoa, what I missed? And I missed twice.
The one thing I would recommend is you're gonna break it there, so orient your body that way, and then get your eyes actually up here to pick that bird up as soon as you can. So
okay.
As soon as you visually see it, you're gonna start moving to the gun,
With it.
boom.
Okay. Pull.
Nice.
There we go.
Boom!
Hey!
Just like that.
Woo!
Yeah.
Talk about good coaching. So there you have it. If you want to get started in sporting clays, I would suggest you start right here at Forest Lake Sportsman's Club. But whatever you do, just get outdoors.
Hey, I only missed one that time.
Still ahead, a Minnesota-bound classic all about a big black bird. Don't be fooled. Can you name it?
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by the Yard maintenance-free outdoor furniture, Running Aces Casino and Racetrack, Bent Creek Golf Club Eden Prairie, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic is all about a big black bird.
Ron Schara goes back in time to report on crows.
Their famous call is their signature, and it echoes through the woods. But what are they saying?
The genus Corvus ravens and crows all around the world are big, obvious birds, and so they figure into a lot of mythology. In our European-biased stuff, it tends to be a negative role because they're harbingers of doom, and you can understand that too because they're scavengers, and so if people were dying in big numbers, then you'd see a lot of crows coming around trying to peck their eyes out and get a good meal.
I even like the sound of the crow in the morning. He's the criminal of the wild. But nonetheless, we still have a kinship.
Crows are predators and they're also scavengers, and unfortunately for our backyard people, sometimes they've been known to steal some young robins and young songbirds, and I guess we don't like that at all, but that's just nature's way.
Crows. We love them or hate them. It's a bird for sure with an image problem. Yet every crow has a mother.
Crows live in family groups with extended families. Many places, the young, once they're hatched, they don't leave the family, they don't leave the parents immediately as soon as they can feed themselves like most birds do, but rather they stay at home for sometimes a couple of years. I have some 6-year-olds that are still at home with their parents. And while they're at home, they help their parents build the nest, raise the young, feed the young, defend the territory, defend the young. So often what you'll see in a place like a park like this is you'll see 6 crows walking around on the ground, and very likely that's a single family.
Kevin McGowan has focused on crows now for more than 2 decades. In that time, the crows have convinced him they're mighty smart.
What do we mean intelligent? Do you mean that you're smart enough to fly down to Argentina and come back without a compass and find the same bush that you were sitting in last year? No, we don't call that intelligent because we can't do that, right? So what we tend to think about intelligent is we mean where they learn new things and can react to them. They can input new information and build on that. They can assess a situation and act on it. Yes, crows are pretty smart. They can figure out a situation, and if there's a way to exploit something like a food source, they will do that. They definitely seem to be able to figure out how to do that. Again, very much like people.
And the people in Newton, Iowa actually celebrate the return of their beloved crows.
The crows come in every year, kind of like the swallows to Capistrano.
Local newsman Dan Ale came up with the idea for Crow Days as a way to relieve the winter blast by throwing a party for crows. Former State Senator Gene Hill and his wife Ruth are the unofficial hosts of crows. They gather at his farm outside of town and roost in numbers that boggle the mind.
I've always said 200,000. My husband says 100. He can't count as fast as I can.
So the crow lesson today is that there's no such thing as a big bad bird. In nature, there are no villains. That means we're not eating crow when we say having these birds around is something worth crowing about.
A lot of people mistake crows for ravens and vice versa.
Yeah, crows tend to be a lot smaller and their calls are very different. Crows caw, ravens croak. Get it?
Got it. Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.